Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Alex. I really get excited about how technology can tackle some of our most complex problems.
And I'm Jordan. I've spent my fair share of time out in the field, so for me, it always comes down to what actually works for the people on the ground. Today, we're diving into something that sits right at that intersection, the new CERT Companion app.
Exactly. It's an AI-powered tool that's designed to make volunteer emergency response faster, smarter, and safer. But that leads to the big question, right? In a real crisis, can a piece of technology really be the partner you trust most?
So let's just jump right in. Jordan, you've been there. Communications are down, things are chaotic, and you need good information like yesterday. The whole promise of an app like this is having a super-powered assistant right in your pocket. But that really brings us to the core of what we're talking about today. When things go sideways, can you really, truly trust an app to be your most critical tool?
Okay, and here's the first big reason the answer might be a yes. This app has a built-in AI assistant, and it's powered by GPT-4o. So instead of trying to flip through a soggy binder in the dark, you can just ask your phone, what's the tsunami evacuation route for this specific zone? And here's the kicker. It pulls the answer directly from official, trusted sources and tells you where it got it. In that moment of chaos, that speed and that reliability, that's a potential lifesaver.
And it's not just about pulling information down, it's also about pushing good information back up the chain. This feature gets rid of so much paperwork. I mean, think about it. No more trying to fill out forms in the rain, no more unreadable handwriting. Your activity logs, like the standard ICS 214, get pre-filled with your info, you can update them on the fly, and you can send them straight to your team lead. For the people coordinating the entire response, that leap in speed and accuracy is just massive.
And this, right here, this is a huge one, situational awareness. We're not talking about a static paper map you printed 8 hours ago. This is a live, dynamic view of what's happening. You can see evacuation zones, where the shelters are, the location of supply caches, all of it updated in real time. When everything is chaotic, knowing exactly where you are and where you need to go is absolutely critical for staying safe and being effective.
So, of course, with all this data flying around, the next question is it secure? And the app has that built in from the ground up, with something called role-based access control. Basically, it means a team member in the field can see the evacuation routes, but only an authorized team leader can update something sensitive, like whether a shelter is at capacity. It's all about making sure the right people have the right information and nothing more.
Okay, Alex, I hear all that, and honestly, it sounds incredibly powerful. I won't deny it for a second. But this slide right here illustrates my single biggest worry. The moment you roll out a tool this advanced, are you accidentally creating two different classes of volunteers? You've got your app-enabled volunteer who has all this data instantly, and then you've got your analog volunteer who's still relying on a radio and a paper map. Are we creating a dangerous gap in the middle of an operation? And let's get even more real about it. What happens with that dedicated volunteer who's been doing this for 20 years? They know every back road, every landmark, but they just aren't a tech person. Their phone is a few years old, the battery dies, or they just forget a password under all that stress. Does all their incredible experience suddenly become less valuable because they can't navigate an app as fast as someone younger?
And look, this isn't just me being a curmudgeon about new tech. We have ethical frameworks for this stuff. The CAIRD ethics checklist, which was consulted for this, is very clear. These tools have to be inclusive and accessible. So that's the real question, isn't it? If the tool isn't truly usable by every single member of the team, are we actually making the team stronger as a whole?
That's a really fair challenge, Jordan. I know the developers tried to think about that. There's an offline mode with preloaded guides, and the interface is meant to be simple. But you're absolutely right to ask if that's truly enough.
I definitely hear your concerns about the individual volunteer, and they're valid. But I think if we zoom out to the bigger picture, the long-term vision for this app might help bridge some of that. Because this isn't just about an app on one person's phone. The goal is to build a completely integrated command system. And this roadmap, well, it shows just how big they're thinking. So, first step on the roadmap is the command dashboard. Remember those digital ICS forms we talked about? This is where they become a superpower. The command post can see in real time the activity logs from every team, all plotted on a map. Suddenly, the app isn't just a personal tool, it's the central nervous system for the entire operation. Okay, and then it gets even more futuristic. The next step is to plug the app directly into hardware out in the field.
We're talking about pulling in thermal camera feeds from drones, using Starlink data so you have connectivity even in total dead zones, maybe even getting readings from IoT sensors on the ground. Just imagine being at the command post and having that complete, data-rich picture of everything that's happening. It's a massive leap in capability.
Whoa, okay, hold on. This right here, this is where my alarm bells really start going off. But this is the most exciting part, Jordan. Version 3.5 brings in predictive AI. The system could actually forecast a team's readiness based on their training records, or model what resources will be needed in a certain area during a crisis. It would let agencies get ahead of the problem, to be proactive instead of just reactive. Predictive modeling sounds fantastic in a tech demo, but in the real world, I have a lot of questions.
And this slide shows exactly why. That same ethics checklist is crystal clear. AI tools must be assistive and they must be human supervised. So if the AI model predicts we only need 2 search teams, but my gut and my experience tell me we need 3, who makes the final call? And even more important, if the AI is wrong, who's accountable? You have to have a human in the loop, always.
You know what? You're 100% right. I was so focused on the potential that I kind of glossed right over the risk. That phrase in the quote, explainable analytics, the one you just made me reconsider, that's not just some nice-to-have feature. It's an absolute non-negotiable ethical requirement. If the AI suggests something, the human commander has to know why. That's how you build trust. That's how you maintain accountability. Yeah, that's the aha moment for me.
So it really feels like we're landing in the same place. The tech itself is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The real magic has to be in the human system we build around it.
Exactly. And that path has to start with step 1, truly inclusive training. And I don't mean a 1-hour webinar. I mean hands-on, in-the-field practice for every single volunteer, no matter how comfortable they are with a smartphone.
Which flows right into step 2, transparent tech. That explainable analytics thing we just talked about is key. Everyone needs to have a basic understanding of how the AI is making its recommendations. No black boxes.
Right, which makes step 3 non-negotiable, human-in-the-loop leadership. This app must always be a tool that gives information to a human decision maker. It can never, ever replace them. A commander's experience and intuition are irreplaceable.
And that brings us to the last step, 4, continuous, realistic field testing. We have to throw everything we can at the system during drills to find out where it breaks so we can fix it before a real disaster strikes.
So when you boil it all down, it really comes back to this, doesn't it? The technology is impressive, for sure, but it's really only 1/3 of the solution.
Totally. You can think of it like a 3-legged stool. The technology is one leg, but its full potential is completely locked until you build the other 2 legs. Robust, accessible training for everyone, and that deep-seated trust that the system works and that people are still in charge. All 3 have to be equal. If one is short, the whole thing falls over.
Which really leaves us with this final and maybe most important question. The technology is moving at an incredible speed. The roadmap we just looked at is for the next year or 2.
Right.
But building trust, developing really good training programs, changing the culture of an organization, those things don't happen with a software update. They take time. So the real challenge isn't whether we can code the app, it's whether we can build up our human systems of trust and readiness at the same pace. And that's the real test.